Hi everyone, we are live right now. And want to welcome everyone. I'd like to know where you're connecting from, your name, and where you're connecting from. But I say good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. And today we have a panel discussion, just like very different from the others we do every Monday. Every Monday we bring people to tell their story, how they've been through life. And today we're having a panel discussion to discuss the power of storytelling. Basically, our show is based on people's story. And so we want to further expatiate and explain why the need for storytelling, why we need to tell stories with our life. And today, before I go into the show proper, I'd like to introduce myself and introduce making a difference, what the show is all about. And my name is Sandra Oko. I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified fee member. And basically, I'm into speaking, I'm into coaching, and as a ghostwriter for others who write books. I'm also a best-selling author. I just launched my second book sometimes in February, and I became a bestseller. So it's a great time to connect with you. And just before the show starts, I probably want to just shoot the intro.
Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's the John Maxwell team. Our certified members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today.
Welcome to another episode of Making a Difference with Sandra Oko, a live show that brings people on the platform where we can glean from, where we alight and also celebrate and recognize leaders who dare to make a difference from all over the world for doing great things in their world. I believe there's a giant in you waiting to be discovered in a nest. You have within you right now all that you need to become that change agent and best version of you that God has made you to be. It is time to ignite you and discover your greater potential and to see the possibilities that exist within you to maximize your potential through this unique platform for mentoring and coaching, and how we can become better versions of ourselves after being through the stage of survival to success and to living a life of significance, where we can leverage the power of storytelling as a strong communication tool. So let's celebrate these leaders and join us on another incredible segment of Making a Difference live show with your host, Sandra Oko. You're welcome. And so we're back, and thank you so much for being on this show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And today we have our panel. I have two special guests. And her name is Lillian Jackson and Shegun Shonawa. We're here to discuss the power of storytelling as a strong communication tool in connecting with others. And before I bring them on board, I like to just, quickly read their resume, their bio, what they've been up to. Lillian Jackson is a principled leader. She's committed to working in and helping others in their journey through life. Many lessons in a spirit of compassion and resilience. Lillian is an Army veteran who understands the value of having values. She values education and has obtained a BSc in Business Administration, an MSc in Clinical Mental Health with a concentration in pastoring counseling, and certification as a Maxwell Leadership Coach, trainer, and speaker. With over 25 years experience in management, human resources, and customer service, Lillian has first-hand knowledge of how we get in the way of attaining our destiny. Lillian believes that lives are changed by pouring into others. She continuously strives to pair her faith and work via volunteerism, teaching, speaking, mentoring, and mental health therapy. Lillian Jackson endeavors to spread the truth about God's love, the truth about the power within, and which she will work in truth and you towards inescapable destiny. I like to go over that. Lillian Jackson endeavors to spread the truth about God's love, the truth about the power within, and she will work in truth with you towards your inescapable destiny. That's if you stay longer with her. So I rather want to stay and hang around her so that she can take me work that inescapable destiny. And our second guest today is Shegun Shonower. I actually just shortened it to Shonower, but it's Shonower. Great to have you this evening. Shegun Shonower, meaning he has a nickname, Mr. Meaningful. He's a multi-awarding winning real estate consultant, ranking among the top 50 in a brokerage organization that has over 70,000 agents. He was employed in the financial services industry with over 2 decades experience and spanning even different institutions. His career cuts across retail banking, product development and management, strategy and performance management, and remedial asset management. Having spent over two unbroken decades in the financial industry, he transited into the wealth creation space, aiding the signing investors to make money, manage money, and multiply money via real estate. He's an entrepreneurially minded with interest in business development and sales. His passion for photography is affirmed by the co-ownership of the Portrait Digital Media, a one-stop shop for all family photographs needs. He also sits on the board of a multiple of other entities. He has the mind of giving to the society, which led to the establishment and the co-trustee of a CSC registered NGO called Meaningful Living Initiative. The focus of the group is the enhancement of positive life values for the family and the whole life development of the individual, particularly the youths. Shegun is a partner in the Meaningful Realtors, a real estate agency, and a director in Meaningful Homes and Properties Limited. He is an astounding real estate broker, offering discerning investors bespoke property investment options that will not only give optimal returns on investment, but will also be a legacy. He's happily married with children. So great to have both of them tonight. I'm excited. Hey, great to have you.
Sandra. Yes, I do.
So great to have you.
Thank
So I'd
you.
like to
Thank you,
know
Sandra.
where in your word you're making a difference that I didn't mention. You probably want to take us back the leader doings, things I didn't mention in your resume. You probably want to touch base and tell me where you're making a difference. And because today we're going to be leveraging and speaking on the power of storytelling as a strong communication tool, as that is what this show is all about. We come to tell our stories in order to be able to connect to the word. So is there any way, Shagun, Lillian, you're making a difference in your word? Maybe not in your resume. I wasn't able to read it in your resume. You want to say something about that?
Absolutely. So again, I am about sharing God's heart with people and just loving on them. And so God prompted me to do something that is just intrinsic to me as a person and me as a person of faith as well. And so I started Love Letters. It's just postings that I do, just sharing love through what I give myself when I need encouragement. And so I present it in Love Letters to all. And also, I do weekly lessons, just teaching a different principle, a different topic every week. And I post those on my Instagram and my Facebook page. It's just really a way to give back to people without expecting anything in return. And so, with the way things are in the world, it's important to just let people know that there is still love in the world, and there's still hope in the world, and there's still encouragement in the world. So that's what I'm up to now, among other things, but we're not going to talk about that today.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great one to show the love and sharing letters with others, so that the world can read and embrace that same love you have experienced, being an extender of that same love. So great to know that. Thank you. Shaggy, you want to speak?
Yes, I'll want to say, in addition to all that you've read in my resume, I'm also trying to impact lives based leveraging on my experience, where I'm coming from and where I am presently. Like I said, like you read in my resume, presently I'm into real estate. I'm a real estate entrepreneur, and the aspect of real estate, because real estate is a wide field, very wide, and
It is.
you have a lot of value chain in between. I'm into the sales and marketing aspect of it. Over time, I'll be gravitating into development, but presently, what I try to do, the impact I'm trying to give, is to bring in as many people as possible, because the opportunity is, is open to all, right? So I'm trying to bring in more people who can actually create a livelihood for themselves on their own terms, right? It gives you an opportunity to create a livelihood for yourself on your own terms. And I want to say that it's been life transforming for me. I mean, after my over 2 decades in financial services, now moving into a new terrain. But I would want to say that, I mean, when I started, I said the only regret I will have is that I wish I had started earlier. And exactly
Oh,
that's what it is. So,
good.
I do everything on a daily basis to try to bring in as many people as possible, come and have this life transforming experience, and it's been really wonderful so far. So at least it's like evangelism to me. It's like evangelism to me.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. When you try to empower people with a mindset of, getting them out of the poverty mentality, that's a great one. And it is said that the best time to have ever planted a tree was 20 years ago, but the next best time is now. So,
True.
commencing your journey now. And that's why I tell people that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step today. If you keep procrastinating, procrastination is the thief of time. And that's why I often tell my kids and everyone around me, when you push what you can do today for tomorrow, you probably will never get to do it. Take actions now, dive into the sea or the river and start moving. You will get good as you try to survive. When you get into a an area where you don't know, you will try to give it your best shot. You try to look for people who will mentor you in that route. Rather than you waiting to get all the information before setting out, you may never get to do it. That's awesome. And basically, before we just go in, I just want to share my own side of the story that talks about storytelling. Why I think storytelling is one of the strongest means in reaching out and touching lives.
Mhm.
What makes storytelling so effective for learning? Telling stories is one of the most powerful means that the leaders have to influence, teach, and inspire. What makes storytelling so effective for learning? For starters, storytelling forges connection among people and between people and ideas. Storytelling also convey the culture, history, and values that unit people have, individuals. Just like I come on board, you are here, Lillian is here. We're here to share our story and rub minds together. And when it comes to our countries, our communities, our families, we understand intuitively that the stories we hold in common are an important part of the ties that bind us together. And this understanding also holds true in the business world, where an organization's story and the stories of its leaders helps to solidify relationships in a way that factual statements encapsulated in bullet points or numbers don't have. So with storytelling, it helps stories do more than just create a sense of connection. They build familiarity and trust and allow the listener to enter the story where they are and making them more open to learning. So good stories can contain multiple meanings to, surprisingly economical in conveying complex ideas in a graspable way. A lot of times, even in schools, for our kids that are in school, the teachers would often look for a story to be able to drive their points down for the student to have a good grasp of what they're trying to illustrate or teach. And so stories are more engaging than a dry recitation of data points or a discussion of abstract ideas. Take, for example, of a company meeting. At a company A, the leader presents the financial result of the quarter. And at company B, the leader tells a rich story about what went into the win and put the quarter over the top. Company A employees come away from the meeting learn about an effective strategy in company A from the meeting, knowing that they made their numbers. That's all they know. But company B, you know, helps in helping the employees to have an understanding that effective strategy in which sales, marketing, and product development came together to secure a major deal. So you can see these two company A and B. A was talking about just the target they met, the numbers they were able to meet. But company B is holistic. talking about the strategies, how they went into sales, what kind of marketing strategies, product development they had, and they put together in securing that success, in making that number. So employees now have new knowledge, new thinking to draw on. They are being influenced. They have learned something new from everyone because they've learned from sales, they've learned from marketing, they learned from product development. Rather, company A just came and just mentioned the numbers, how they got to their targets. Storytelling has a lot in itself. And today we are basically sharing, bringing other people to tell us the aspect of what storytelling has helped them, achieve, what impact they've been able to make in sharing their story and impacting their world. You might want to share with me what you understand by storytelling. How have you used it in your business to grow your business? And have you used it to impact your family? Because you know, he says, take the gospel to Judea, to Jerusalem first. So have you used it in your family, your immediate family? So before, extending it to the world. So I'd like to hear and glean from you too.
Good, good. For me, storytelling is essential. It's an essential part of just the human journey. How do we learn? We learn by hearing the stories. How do we grow? We learn by again hearing stories. And so when I think about the use of storytelling, it is really about sowing the seeds of hope through process, right? So if I tell you that I was able to walk a mile and I told you exactly how to do it, I told you that when you get to this point, you go left. And when you get to this point, you go right. And then, oh, just when you think you don't have enough room, you continue. And so I'm taking you along with me. And so when you get to that point on the road, you're like,
It's a journey.
yeah, she said I was going to face this. And so what that does is it empowers people to go further. It empowers them to recognize that even though something is uncomfortable, even though something may take a long time, it can be done. And so storytelling sows seeds of hope continuously, and it gives them a place to connect to. Because I might be 5 steps further on the road, and if I send you a message and say, hey, this is what's coming up, it encourages you to know that, okay, I'm not really blind because someone has already walked this road. And
Yeah,
so I can overcome it. I can be successful. And so for
sure.
me, storytelling is essential in really just grabbing the listener and holding their hand and saying, you got this.
You can
For
do
me, it's
it.
a tool of encouragement and empowerment. So that's the short of it. Um,
Shaggy, you want to say something?
Yeah, true. Storytelling it brings hope, and not just that it brings hope. Storytelling also makes the message clearer, makes the message easier to conceive. I mean, yeah, it makes it easier for whoever you're telling the story or whoever you want to pass the message across to get it right, rather than teaching the theories. This is how you do this or this. What you don't do at this point of the, take them through the story of, like you said, first in Jerusalem, my own Jerusalem. What I try to do a number of times, and I try to remind my children, have I told you this before? And they will say yes. You know, I try to make stories of my own life, roadblocks I eat, I mean, bumps I ran into, and not just the negative side of the picture. I also give them the beautiful side of the picture and say, okay, look at this person, look at this person. At this point, this was what happened, this was what happened. We go to school, we go to church, we go to school with particularly church in this time around. We learn
Yeah.
all the theories. Yeah, we learn all the theories. But the message gets more gets clearer when you are able to let them see the reality of it through storytelling, either your own stories directly or stories of people that they can relate with. You know, that way they will make it will become a clear, okay, it's not just this person. It wasn't just because Daniel stood out. I mean, trying to, at times, if you just tell them the story of Daniel, they'll just have it in their head. Like there was a Daniel sometimes, some thousands of years ago. And so how does that relate? But if you bring home the story and make them understand that, do you know this fellow? Oh, there was a time that I went to school. When I got to school, I was challenged with having to either compromise or to stand out.
Yeah.
Eventually, I stood out. And because I stood out, this was the implication. And unfortunately, there was someone else who was not willing to stand out. And because he or she did not stand out, this was the implication. That story makes it clear, and not just the theory of the Bible story, right? Yeah, the Bible story is also a story, but we are now talking about the realities, the contemporary situation where the children, where they can see my own Jerusalem, yeah, the citizens of my Jerusalem, yeah, using your word, can see the reality of it and say, okay, this is actually what it is, and okay, now it's clearer to them. It's not just a mirage. They're not looking at it at a distance or trying to bring it's clearly evident to them that it's a reality that can be lived.
That's awesome. Like Lillian rightly said, it empowers you to go further in life. And sincerely, when you get tired along the journey of life, you remember those who have been there. And so, there's this fortitude, there's this joy that if A did it, I can do it. He doesn't have to, right? How did he go through it? You learn the ropes, how the ups and downs, and you get strength from that. You get inspiration to keep going. And that's why, sometimes mentorship really pays. When you have a mentor tells you, I have been through this route before. This is what I suffered when I started my business. And this is what you might likely get to see on the
Yeah.
way. So your mind is prepared. So you're like ready to like, where is the battle? Where is that fears? You are ready to combat that, fears. Because, we all have fears in life. But what makes us different is having courage to fight our fears, not running from our fears. People have fears and they run away from their fears. But having the courage to do it while being afraid, doing it while being afraid,
Or
just
you're
go.
afraid.
Yes, because
Yeah.
the fear is all around in the air. You have more fear than anything else. So it's a conscious effort to look inward and see faith. You understand? It's the opposite. But you have to be disciplined. You have to be conscious to know that there is fear all around. But what do I do to overcome fear? You have to see the positive side of life. You have to see faith. You have to see God working for you. You have to see fear as, the devil is, very loud. Even when you don't want to take a decision, he comes and, keep repeating it. Do it, do it, do it. And the devil wants you to do it now. But this, quiet voice that comes to you would only speak to you once. Might not speak, pushing you. And that's why, for every living person, the power of choice is key. And that's the most powerful tool we have. So if you don't use your choice well, so you have two choices come to you. Someone say, do it now. And the voice is so loud. And somebody come and say, do it now. Go this way. Go that way. And the other one is like screaming. There's a tendency that you want to go with the one that is loud, occupying your mind. Whereas the silent one and the quiet, the still small voice is the way to go. And so that's, in life I've learned never to go, anything that makes me go on the spot to rush to make a decision is not of God. So I try to take time and look inward and ask myself, should I be doing this at this time? Silently asking the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God in me, to decide what choice to make. Because we've learned in life that our choices make us. They either make you or mar you. So whatever decision you take today will wait for you in front. And that's why where you are today, where I might today, is the decisions we have taken in life that has brought us thus far. Probably if we didn't make the right decision, we probably would not be connected. I might be somewhere else, you might be somewhere else. But making the right decision, we're able to connect. And so beyond that, storytelling helps us to be able to make a choice and putting ourselves in the picture of the story and honing the story, taking ownership, that's what storytelling, does for us. So I don't know if you have anything you want to say from what I've just discussed.
Yeah, I want to add something to storytelling since that's what we're talking about. When we think about storytelling, we have some amazing examples throughout scriptures. And what I love about it is storytelling, it also prompts individuals and collectives to be reflective. It requires the listener to assess where they really are. It requires the listener to be honest with themselves. And so when we're thinking about the stories that we're telling, and even reflect back on how Jesus used storytelling in parables, it required you to have a listening ear and also a reflective heart. And so I love storytelling simply because I can put a question in there or pose a statement that really gets the listener to really deep dive into who they say they are and whether or not they're living authentically. And so the power of storytelling isn't just me telling the story, it's also me prompting an internal response that you're not even aware of. Because I'm drawing on your thirst and hunger to really know who you are. And in essence, really knowing who you are in Christ. And so that curiosity is what the story allows me to unfold. It allows me to draw you in with that curiosity that you already have, because you already have so many questions about this, that, the other life. Am I doing good? Am I not doing good? And so when I can prompt you with something, that little hook, and you're like, I've never thought about that. It requires you to go deeper into the story. And so I love the fact that it jars the inquisitive mind to really, really, really be engaged. So that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, keeps you engaged. Shaggy, you want to say something?
Yes, the other part of storytelling, as Lillian was going on, the other part of storytelling that I just feel like emphasizing here is the importance of intentionality, particularly for the storyteller, right? Once those stories are told in hindsight, right? You can't tell a story of the future, right? But if you know that someday, if you are conscious of the fact that someday you'll have a story to tell, you live your life more intentionally, because you want to think upfront, what kind of story do you want to tell when it's time for you to tell your story? What kind of story do you want to tell? So that will give you, as a storyteller, or would be storyteller, and will give you the consciousness of living your life with more intentionality, rather than just living your life haphazardly, right? So that's another beautiful thing that I think storytelling does. It enables you, or it gives you the ability to say, I want to live. By the time I want to tell the story of my life 10 years from now, what kind of story do I want to tell? And aside of being intentional about the future, it also helps you look back to where I'm talking of myself now, because this is about storytelling, and so I'm telling the story of myself. Where have I, in my 20 years sojourn in financial service industry, what were my errors? And that is some of my errors is what is driving me now in real estate. I want to bring in as many people as possible, right? Because I know, in my local parlance, we have a proverb that says that the sky is broad enough for both the hawk and the eagle to fly without crossing each other, right?
Sure.
So I want to bring in as many people to come and prosper. Yes, back then, with all my sojourn, I didn't do enough of that. I didn't bring in enough people to the opportunities that were available then, right? So I'm saying now, I don't want to tell the same story that I missed out then. So for the storyteller, it gives you, since you know you're a storyteller, it gives you the consciousness that you have to live your life with more intentionality. So I want to bring that
Sure.
in as well.
Yeah, just let me quickly recap all you've just said before I go into my side of contribution. When she said it gives you a place
Let
of
me,
connection.
maybe before you go on, I think Lillian wants to say something. Lillian is
Okay,
about to say
Lillian, say
something.
something.
Yeah, a caveat to that, though, is even when we have missteps and our choices were not as sound and we were not intentional, it creates a story of redemption to let people know that even though there is a misstep, that there's also something good that can come out of it, because you learn.
Yeah,
And as you learn from the error, you convert that now into wisdom, active wisdom that you can put into place. And so errors aren't all bad. When we're going through them, they are. However, they're also a catalyst for us to do it differently. As you said, you're
yeah,
now being intentional about the journey.
Yeah.
However, had you not learned those lessons, would you know to be intentional today? And so, yeah, we have some hindsight as we're talking through this, But some people, they are where they are because they didn't have hindsight, and so they're making choices today based off what they know, and not necessarily based off of the lesson that they've learned because they haven't learned it yet. And so just recognizing and planting the seeds of hope that, yeah, sometimes we misstep. And even though I have over 2 decades of experience, I didn't get to this side of experience without some bumps in the road. And so
Okay.
instead of resting in the failures, making sure that we are encouraging people to learn from
Yeah.
them, figure out what I did that was off, and then do it differently. Because learning lessons, well, errors that we use as learning lessons convert into wisdom. And so then now when we know better, we do better. And so I just wanted to add that little bit that it's not awful that we make mistakes. It's only awful if we don't learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
And so,
Agree with you. Agree with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great one. Not learning from your mistake is awful because sincerely, it is said that mistakes is another way of doing things. When you make mistakes in the things you do in life, sometimes you might think is an error. No, maybe another way of doing things. As leaders, we see mistakes as, like John Maxwell rightly tell you, that it's good sometimes failure. You shouldn't run away from failure. You shouldn't see failure as something bad, because you find that you'll learn more in your failures, in your mistakes, than you will learn from your success. What success does, if you're not careful, makes you prideful, like you did it all your own. But failure brings you down to humility. And that's where humility comes. You want to learn, you want to go back to the drawing board. What is it I did that I didn't get right? How do I do it the next time? Like you rightly said, it gives you a picture. It helps you to be able to, have a clearer picture of where you want to be, where you're going to, rather than, theory. It gives you both positive and the negative side of the story. You learn from the story. You try to want to put yourself in the shoes of the person saying it. And that's where empathy comes. We're not just, outside the story. We try to be part of the people acting it. So, and it helps to stick where things, if it's numbers, maybe you have to read, but story drives in the points such that you're able to hold something. And like after an event and a training, you might forget every other thing. One thing that sticks better is the story that you have
The
from
story
that
that you have.
event. So you get home and say, oh, I remember the story they said. And that's why I made an illustration of the company A and company B. Company A just came with a number and said, we did our numbers, we met our numbers, we made those figures. Company B is coming beyond just numbers, saying we grew in sales, we grew in the marketing strategy. We also had what you call personal development. Our staffs grew. So, and we met the numbers. So, beyond that, you've not only taken the numbers, you've taken all the other aspects that you grew. You grew, sales wise, marketing. You were able to reach more people through marketing, and your people, your staff who brought in the numbers also were not left behind. They also grew. So, in meeting your numbers, you also need to grow your team. Otherwise, you get the numbers and your teams are falling away. And when there are no team members to continue the continuum, for you to continue the journey, the company will come crumbling. So as much as the company is climbing, the employees, the people you have, the team players you have are also growing with the increase of the company. So both parties are growing. And what we learn again from storytelling, we do not need to reinvent the wheel. I want to do the kind of business Lillian is doing. Why do I have to reinvent the wheel? Why do I have to fail 10 times? When Lillian is there, I can run to her and say, Lillian, I'm about starting a leadership training. What do you think about? Lillian is able to mentor me, hold me by the hands, and take me through that journey. And I'm able to get there faster than Lillian because Lillian has been there ahead of me. She's got all the experience. She knows where all the potholes and the obstacles are. So she's able to tell me beforehand. She's able to give me a contract base and say, these are the team that worked with me that made me a success. So I already know and I'm able to run without looking back. And I do not need to reinvent the wheel. It might have taken Lillian 10 years to get to where she's going. But because I am being mentored by Lillian, then I don't need to go through wasting my life 10 years. In 2 years, I am there. And I can, give recognition to Lillian. If not for Lillian coming into my life, I probably wouldn't have been there. And that's why God has placed us. God says, I place, God removes the solitary and place them in families. And that's why we need our environment. And that's why we need people. I love meeting with people. One of my strength, my strong areas is networking. I like when we have crowd. So, I like going out. I like connecting with new people rather than being indoor. So I wonder when I see IT workers say they work all day, and I talk about the marketplace Christianity. How do you reach out to souls? How would you? Because I was just telling my husband some months ago. I said, as much as we do IT, the devil is gradually making everyone to live a solitary life. Be your home, place your orders online, buy your food, everything online, never connecting with anyone. And you know what the devil does? He likes solitary people. When he wants to destroy a man, he would not leave you in the
Yep.
crowd. Even a man who
Absolutely.
masturbates does not masturbate in the public. He will go to an hideout to do it. And that's why I tell people, I say, if you want to masturbate, that same spirit that is disturbing you, go to the public place to do it. You won't do it. So the devil is trickish. In this, I think we're in this age where everything is solitary. Do it alone. Do it yourself. You don't need anyone. But from the other side of faith where we belong to, we believe in leveraging, we believe in teamwork, we believe in families. That's why we go to church. A lot of people will tell you, I don't need church. I can read my Bible at home. I can connect online. No, beyond that, we need ourselves. We need each other. We need to climb on each other. I don't need to go into real estate, studying everything that has to do with real estate when I know Shegun Shonowe is there. So I can just call him and say, Shegun, I have a property I want to procure. What do you think about this property? Can you come look at it for me and advise me? Why do I have to go read about real estate? I know that you have a strength in that area. So, and that's why, beyond anything, we need ourselves. We need a team. There is a lot we can do together, being together. And that's why he says when a single strand is brought, you can break it. But when you have all of them together, it's difficult to break the strand of broom, the bunch of broom.
Yeah.
It's difficult to break or, have a wine that you want to break. It takes a lot of energy for you to break. So when we come together like the way we are, if I'd come online alone to talk about storytelling, it probably might not be impactful because I'm talking from my own side. But now I'm talking from three other sides. Someone who comes to gain and watch this video again probably would listen to me and say, wow, that's a great one. Oh, I got something from Lillian. Oh, I got something from Shegun. So holistically, coming together to share people's stories is a strong one. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. We can leverage, I can ride on you and ride on Lillian to get where I need to be in the shortest possible time, rather than doing it alone. And finding time to go to the field, finding time to go. I think all the disciples too were on the field. They were going from homes to meet. They could have sat down in their homes and said, let's connect online. But with COVID, everything is online. Everything is do it, stay alone. And that's why you find people committing suicide. Depression is setting in because you don't have people to talk to. You don't have people to play with. You don't have anything to share with anyone. You just be on your own. You don't understand. But beyond that, it's a great thing for us to look for network where we can connect with people at least once, twice a week. Go to church, network with other people, go to chambers of commerce to get business partners, network with other people who probably might be looking for, trusted hands in real estate, trusted and in mental therapy. How do you get customers? Like I told my son, I said, if you're not in college or if you're doing online program at home, how would you learn from others? A lot of people stay back at home to do online. And in 3 years, they're done with college. But I said, going to the 4 walls of the university is not just going there to learn. You learn how to network and work with other people. You learn other things, mental management, so many things you need to learn. Just, being out there in the field.
True.
So I think with that, I think maybe you want to say something about the essence of being in the marketplace.
The importance of being connected is I can't pick myself up off the floor and I cannot give myself CPR.
Yeah.
It is through connection that we are revitalized, not just for breathing problems or having a heart attack or whatever, but we are revitalized because we recognize that there is so much more opportunity and possibility. When you're isolated, you see limited possibility. When you're connected, you see limitless possibility for what you can do in this life. And so when I'm connected to Sandra and Segu, I am simply saying that I am not satisfied with my little piece of the pie over here in Maryland in the United States. I want to be connected to others around the world who are looking to make a difference. I can't do that from the comfort of my own home. I can't do that only by Zoom calls. Sometimes you just have to be in the room with the other person and break bread with the other person. And
Yeah.
so as people
Just
of
said it all.
it's important to not forsake the gathering of the saints together. And not just the saints, just in general. Because when I am not at 100%, you'll notice. If I'm
Yeah.
locked away in my house, who's going to come alongside me and encourage me? You can't
Yeah.
see me. So unless I pick up the phone and call you and you hear it in my voice, you won't know that I need
No
encouragement
one.
moment. And so the importance of the marketplace, wherever that marketplace is for an individual, whether it's on the sports field, in church, at a barbecue, whatever it might be, it is really exposing yourself to others who really see you. And when you are seen, it's very difficult to disappear.
Yeah.
And so the great deception. So again, people of faith, I'm not may not be talking to everybody, but people of faith, the great deception is Satan comes right alongside of the truth and tells you a story. So he knows storytelling too. He tells you a story that's so close to the truth that because you're not connected to others, you step right into it. And so recognizing that storytelling has been around for forever, so this is not a new art.
No, it's been there since
Is not a new art. And so just like Jesus used storytelling, so does Satan.
parables. They were
And
storytelling.
so recognize that when you are isolated and you're not in the marketplace, you're easily deceived. You're easily deceived because you don't have iron sharpening iron
You
in
just
your
said what I
life.
want to say. Yeah.
And so you can absolutely fall prey to any lie and deception that's in the marketplace. And the same when you're connected, you accelerate your growth, you accelerate your goals that much more because you have just connected to Sandra and Segun who have expertise that can take you from having to spend the next 5 years learning something to, oh, I can coach you in 30 days and you are well on your way. So that's the importance of the marketplace. It is about speeding up what you want to
Yeah,
accomplish because others
leveraging.
have gone before you. And so this walk, even as believers, we have the great GPS system. Jesus was the great GPS system. If you follow his footsteps, he's already set the path for you. And so if you don't follow his footsteps, you're gonna hit those thorns and thistles over there. You're gonna fall in the ditch over there. However, if you follow everything that he's already laid out for you, there are no missteps. And so you've gone to the master navigator and he's already paved the way for you. And so as long as you're following the master navigator, you're never going to get lost. Even if there's a detour, he found the shortcut already. So again, the marketplace is so valuable. And I'm going to hand it over. I'm sorry. I got a little bit excited there for a minute.
Oh, Shaggy, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to do. Well, you said something while you were speaking that really resonates with me, and that's the power of the devil to use isolation. It's one of the strongest tools of the devil, right? I tell my folks, I said, if the devil wants to take a man out, one of the first things he does for him or to him is to set him aside.
Sure.
And that comes in, the trick about that is it comes in from a sense of competence. Yeah, we call it, yeah, it's good to be competent, but that sense of when the competence start coming, I can do it. I don't need Sandra, I did that without Lillian, so I can do so much more. Let me just be, right?
Pride set
Some
him.
people will say, yeah, people will say that a lot to say, I just want to do my own thing, but it's a very powerful tool of the devil that you either want to take you out in several ways. It can be with your own, even to the extent of some people feel, they downplay the importance of mentors, of coaches, of counselors, and all that, and feel like, no, I don't have to tell it. I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it. Not knowing that even your coach has a coach.
Yes.
Even your mentor, even the person that you are trying to cut away from as your mentor, as a mentor. Well,
Yeah.
while you are thinking that you can do it on your own, and that's on the one side. So that's talking about the danger of isolation. Now, going back to storytelling, as we were discussing this, it comes to my mind. Say, which of the great stories or which of the great men have you ever seen in history, or that have stories that they did it all alone? No one. No one. Everybody, even Jesus needed the 12 apostles.
He needed the disciples, yes. And that was why he
He
went
needed the
around
disciples.
getting one, each and every one of them, and he got 12.
Exactly. And he got 12. And he told the 12 that, yes, you are the apostles. So you need to get disciples. You need to bring in more people.
Just go
And,
out and
then-
bring more.
and so that's just the way it is. And there's a saying that your network determines your net worth. So when you don't have a network, means that Elon Musk is not doing it alone. And in our own environment here, Dangote is not doing it alone.
He
Otedola is
can't do
not doing
it
it
alone.
alone. So they need a lot of people. Well, how will Dangote be able to be? How will Otedola, who owns filling station, right downstream, how will he be in all the filling stations at the same time? Can he do that? No, he can't
Yeah,
be.
sure.
You have to get people to be in those trusted people to be in those places. So you can't take away the importance of having people around you. And I mean, as we are saying this, it's actually the beautiful thing about this is, I mean, about life generally, is about it's when you have the openness of mind to be a good storyteller and knowing that you have a story to tell, you keep getting transformed on a daily basis. It keeps working and making you better on a daily basis. Because the truth is that whether you see yourself as a storyteller, whether you see yourself as not, your life is telling a story. So the fact now, the truth now, the question now is that what story is your life telling? What story is my life telling? So I need to. It goes back to my earlier postulation of saying you have to be intentional. You can't put your life on auto. You either live your life by design or you live your life by default. If you choose to live your life by default, you get the default results, right? But if you live your life by design and saying, I'm going to impact lives, I'm going to touch people, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you'll have better stories to tell. You'll have better stories to tell, because like I said earlier, whether you say it or not, your life is telling a story. So what story is my life telling? And I can't tell a complete story without being in the midst of people. My story is richer, my story is fuller when I go out to meet people, when I relate with other people. That's my saying there.
That's awesome.
Well
Learning
said.
from others helps to reinvent, now not to reinvent the wheel. Like you rightly said, he said, woe to him that is alone in the day of trouble. Sometimes I tell my kids that as a slogan. I said, if you're alone and you stumble, nobody will pull you. If you fall into a well and you need someone to help you. Somebody will have to stretch your hand to pick you out. So you need a company of people. You need to leverage. And we're in the time where people come together to collaborate. And that's what is helping businesses in our time. People who do not have the well know-how, you want to operate in the United States of America, but you don't have the leverage. You can leverage with Lillian, and Lillian can become your extra leg in the United States. Lillian might want to go to Africa. Lillian can oh, Shegun is in Africa. He knows the terrain more than me. I can reach out to Shegun to give me a feasibility studies. How do I go? How do I start it out? So we need each other. And that's why, the power of team, like John Maxwell rightly said, one is too small a number to do anything. Coming together as a team, we can achieve. And that's why, when you listen to 1,000 shall fall, 1,000 one shall put 1,000 to flight, but two, I don't know where that calculation, it's not a multiplication, because if it's 1 to
Mhm.
1,000, Two should be
It's
2,000. But
geometry.
it says two, we put 10,000 to flight. So you can imagine how many twos that we have. So we're able to do, I can connect with you and we'll put 10,000 together to flight. I can connect with Lillian and we can put 10,000 to flight. You can connect with Lillian and that's like 30,000. Whereas one putting 1,000 to flight, you're just going to be 3,000 to 10,000 to 30,000. So it's a lot. So there is this leverage of coming together, the power of coming together. And that's why he said when one is cold, the other one will be able to, spread warmth to the other person. So, and like she rightly said, iron sharpened iron. So somebody who is so skillful can sharpen that person who is just coming up to become at par. Both of them can be at par. Both of them can be on the same level, someone who is there. And one thing I know, he says, run away from any leader or anybody you see who doesn't have a mentor, who doesn't have anyone who speaks to him or her, who doesn't have anyone that controls. That person might be a monster because you don't have anyone you connect with. You don't have anybody that is connecting with you.
Excuse
So
me.
you are not connected to anyone. So you're going to stink because you think you have all the word of knowledge. So you're going to stink because you're not a river, you're a reservoir. You have all your word of knowledge and you're keeping it to yourself. And such a person is the devil's tool because nobody can correct him. Nobody can talk to him. He has no one he fears, no one he respects, no one he owes allegiance to. Like John Maxwell is over 76. But when he tells me that he has other mentors mentoring him and we are looking up to him, I'm like, oh my God, and he's submitting to their leadership. So who am I not to submit to him because he's also a mentor? You get? So a lot has to do with storytelling. We learn from other people's story. I am living my life. What story is going to be told about me when I'm no longer here? What story is going to be told about Lillian and Shagun? We want to leave a legacy, and our legacy starts by story. And how do we learn? We learn from other people's autography, biography, how they have been. X-Team, the Microsoft, how he started. You want to start your own IT company. You want to go and read their story. How did they commence how did they start? You want to read from other people's story, even without having someone physical to meet with. You can read from other people's story. You can leverage. And that's why we have books. We have things we have Google. You could just Google someone's story. I want to Google the founder of Facebook. How did he start his platform? I could just go read about him without meeting with him. So we have a lot to do with storytelling. It's actually a very great communication tool that everyone should leverage. And that's why it is often used in schools. It is said repetition is a key to learning. And when you hear same story over and over again, whatever you're trying to learn sticks. So you go back being a better person because you have the memory. You can tell that story to other people. So it's a great tool to leverage on storytelling.
True.
And a well-said story, a well-spoken story will bring the reader into the story.
Yeah. And that's why I spoke about empathy.
Find themselves. And
owning the story.
And they can typically find their solutions also.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and before we just take a break, I'd like to just take a water break. So just in case there's any question, I can check the comment section. And probably want to play a book trailer. I hope you don't mind. So welcome back from the water break. Welcome back. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And some of the comments on the side says, "Oh, great story, great discussion, great impact." And Lillian, what you said lastly really resonated with me. some of the side comments. And I want to thank our viewers. I also want to thank you for making that time out of your busy schedule. I think we spent close to an hour. You sometimes, when you talk to the team, you never know time is fast, right? I was thinking it's 40 minutes, and I'm like, oh my God, this is 5 minutes. Oh my God, we're almost spending 55 minutes. Thank you so much. I want to thank you, Lillian, for making time out of his busy schedule. I also want to thank you, Shegun, calling you. You're meant to be on bed now, getting ready to go to bed. Thank you so much for connecting. Yeah, and also thank our viewers too again, because you're the reason why we're here to share. And I know a lot of you might come back to watch this, to listen to this. I want to leverage and know that storytelling is a great connecting tool that brings people together. We connect with people's stories. We read things about people and we get connected and say, oh, that's my kind of story. That's what I've been through life. So thank you so much for making our time until our next episode, which is next week, Monday evening. Do have a blessed evening. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.